Hello everybody. What I want to show in this video is something that is just kind of fun to play around with, and especially if you're new to merging. This is this very simple thing you can try, and it's good to save a little bit of camp budget, I suppose, but it's also, if you're just kind of like me, not that into the standard electric lighting that we get in the game, this gives you a little bit other options to choose from that are a little, I think, somewhat more realistic. They're less glaring than the electric lights that we have. So what I'm doing here is just taking lamps like the one you see here, and I'm merging them with some of these other light sources, lanterns and candles. The lanterns tend to be a little bit softer, a little bit warmer. Candles are a little bit brighter and a little bit closer to the electric light, but still not quite as bright and harsh. So this video is not about how to merge, so you'd have to look up how to do that if you don't know how to do it. But it's pretty simple, and you can get the basic idea just by watching this here. But as I said, this is just kind of a fun thing to experiment with if you are new to merging. It's very simple, doesn't require any fancy techniques or anything too creative. It's really very, very plain. And since I'm too lazy to edit this video, you're going to watch me just place this thing just right. So basically, a lamp like this one, which has a huge, huge shade on it, makes it very, very easy, because even if the lantern is not properly centered or is not perfectly put away on there, it's still not going to show, right? So most people will never even notice that there's a lantern stuck in there. And let's see, I just had a little bit of something sticking out there, I think. Yeah, so this one works really, really well. You could fit a candle in there as well if you needed to. But as you'll see when I move this into its context, you'll see how much light it puts out. And I don't know, I just think it's a little bit more realistic looking. Some of the lights are so harsh and so bright that to me they don't really look good. And let's see, here it is in my creepy garage. You can see what that looks like. There's already some existing lights in this room, so this would be, if you had it in a place that had lights already. I'll show you in a spot here where it's the only light in the room, which I think is a better indication of what it can do and what it looks like. So that's a good idea, or that's a good display of it right there. In this build, which you may have seen in my last video, I used these kind of merged lights throughout, including that one. There's a couple other ones upstairs. So let me show you one now that I used the candles instead of the lantern. So in this case, I'm just going to use one of these table lamps. Put it on the old pressure plate. Now for some reason, I had done this before. I don't remember it taking this long to get the stupid candle mounted on top. I was trying to get it more centered, but luckily the lampshade is big enough, so even as I struggled to get it on there, I end up able to mostly hide it, I think, to the naked eye. And if someone really wasn't looking that hard, they wouldn't know that there was a candle in there. But we all know that sometimes placing items can be very challenging. So eventually I gave up on trying to get it right in the center and just kind of went with it. It's a little, I think there ends up being a tiny bit that sticks out, but you'll see in a few minutes here that it's not too bad. So as I said, the candle kind of is a little bit more close to the electric lights that you get in the game. It's a little bit brighter, a little bit harsher, but not quite as bright and harsh as the electric ones. So it's a nice in-between, I think, between the softer merge with the lantern and the bright electric lights. So again, I'll show you what this looks like in context. First into the creepy garage. So you can see it puts out more light than the lantern merge. Bring it into the house, you can see it in there.
I just can't shake these nightmares.
And this is a good spot where you'll see how it compares to that other lamp. That other lamp is a lantern merge. This one is a candle. So you can see it definitely puts out more light. And you put it against a wall, as you'll see over here, and the shine off of the wall really adds to that ambient lighting as well, which is cool. Now it does matter a little bit what the shade, like the color of the shade. So that you'll see a lamp over here. I don't know if you'll see it that much. Yeah, in this room there's a lamp with a much darker shade, and it definitely blocks the light. So it's kind of cool because it's kind of realistic that you'd have a darker shade and less light would show through. There's an example of it here on the ground. This very tall, kind of cone-shaped one works really well. And there you see a side-by-side. I'll get a better shot of that as we go. But these two lamps on the ground, they're the same lamp with that darker shade. And you can see how the light of the lantern doesn't come through nearly as much as it does on other lamps, which is cool because, you know, depending on the shade, that makes sense. So here you see the two side by side. On the right is the electric light, and on the left are lantern merged lights. So these things are super bright. I find them kind of like annoyingly bright. This to me looks much more, you know, realistic in some ways, especially if we're thinking that energy is not a super available commodity in this world. Now, obviously, the advantage of the electric lights is you can turn them off, so if you don't want them on during the daytime or whatever. But one of the things I found is the ones that are merged, because they are softer, they definitely blend in more during the light of the day, so they don't seem as like stark, and you don't really notice them being on. You certainly notice them being on, but not nearly as much as you would if the electric ones were on. So what I'm going to do here is actually close up this room that I made for this demonstration, just to show you what it looks like, what both of them look like inside an enclosed, completely enclosed space. So I've switched over here. This is all enclosed now. Probably should have done it without windows just for the heck of it, but I didn't think of that till later. So let's close up the door. This happened to be kind of a bright night, you know, and sometimes these Fallout 76 nights are a little bit bright. So here it is enclosed. Let me shut off these ones here, so you can see just the merged lighting by themselves. It's a different vibe, right? It's a different feel. To me, it looks like the old incandescent bulbs from back in the day and not the compact fluorescence or something we have today. So I don't know why I bothered to take these walls down, but that's pretty much all I wanted to show you. Oh, I remember why, because I wanted to get a wide shot again of the whole thing side by side. So that's pretty much it. Very simple merge. Just kind of a fun thing to do, to experiment with. That's what I'd like to do in this sort of world, is to experiment and see what it comes up. I'm definitely not as advanced as some of the builders out there, so I like simple things that I can do to add to my camp, and this is one of them. So hopefully you found it interesting or helpful in some way, and inspiring to go out and try some of this yourself. So thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. See ya.